I think we talked about, what did we talk about? Can't remember.
Lesson
Yes, here it is. How did it go?
11B.
Yeah, this is the one, yeah. Yeah, because we're still talking
Mhm.
about reporting reported speech. And in this lesson, the first thing we covered was jobs. We talked about vocab related to jobs. We discussed the meanings of these words. A few of them were new. We talked about job interviews, if you remember. We also listened to the conversation between Eva and we also have, what's his name? Max and Gabby, remember? Yeah,
Yes.
because Max is the producer, Eva is the actor, and Gabby is the PA. And then after that, we also listened to Eva telling her boyfriend about the audition, right? So we also completed this part number 3. We also talked about it. And we matched. Did we do the matching? I think we did. No, this part we didn't do. We did 3A.
No.
3A was the last thing we finished. We listened to the
Yes.
conversation, but we still haven't done 3B. We haven't matched these 6 questions. We didn't match them to number 3A here in the bottom, on the left side.
Yes.
All right, so let's start
Yes.
here. Let's do this. So here, because remember in 3A in the bottom, these are the questions that Max asked Eva, right? And here, this is in number 3A, sorry, number 2B. Number 2B, this is these are Max's questions for Eva in number 2B. All of them are in direct speech, right? You can see them. Are you working at the moment? Do you have any work, acting work in the next, did he say next 3 weeks or something? Next month? I can't remember the answers, but all of this, let me just put them in a little box for you. So all of these are direct speech, indirect speech, questions, indirect speech, right? Now we want to match all of this. We want to match them to the reported questions when Eva reported what happened to her boyfriend. So let's start here, okay? Let's match the questions. So the first one is, are you working at the moment? This is the question. Are you working at the moment? So which one is it? It's answered. Sorry. It's already answered. Can you see it? Number 1. A is number 1. So it's already answered. First, he asked me if I was working at the moment. Lola mujawbin. All right, now let's check question number 2 in 2B. Do you have any acting work in the next 3 months?
Next month, 3 months.
Yeah, in the
3
next
months,
3 months. Do you have any acting work in the next 3 months? Which
F.
one? F?
F.
F. That's correct. Yes, let's write it. So F is number 2. He also asked me if I had any acting work in the next 3 months. Tamam. Okay, let's check question number 3. And what was your last, I think, acting job?
Yes.
Yeah, what was your last acting job? And from the answers here,
C.
C.
Yes, C is correct. He asked me what my last acting job had been. So this is correct. This is number 3. All right, let's go back and check. Number 4, it says, what other, I think, parts? Is it parts or roles? Parts. Yes.
Parts.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was your, sorry, what other parts have you had recently? So from here, which one is it?
E.
E is correct. That's it. Yeah. He asked me what other parts I'd had recently. All right, tamam. Let's check question number 5 here. And where did you Was it study?
Studying,
Yeah,
yes.
yes. Where did you
Studying,
study acting? Where did you study acting? So which
Yes,
question? That's correct. So B is
yes.
number 5. So this means the last one, when D. So this means
D.
this is number 6. But let's take a look at it so we can see the change that happened. So let's read number 6 and let's see the change. Are you available to start next week, I think? Yes, he wanted to know whether I was available to start next week. All right, so you can see here what happened. We have questions in direct speech and we reported the questions. And this is the focus of our first grammar rule for today. Reported speech in questions. So this is what we're going to talk about first. Let's start here with question number 4a. It says, look at the reported questions in 3a. So they want us to take a look at the part that we just finished here. Okay, so let's take a look at these reported questions. Then it says, choose the correct words and phrases in these rules. Let's check the first rule. We use or don't use the auxiliaries do, does, or did in reported questions. What do you think from these 6 examples? Yes, right. If you notice, there's no do, no did, and no does. We didn't use it at all, right? We didn't use them at all. So this means, so you can't use, it means you cannot use auxiliaries do, does, or did when you report a question. So this is an important tip. All right, let's take a look at the second rule. We use if or whether to report questions with or without a question word.
Without. Because it's we use if instead of do or does.
Yeah, but here when we say question word, we're talking about the original questions in direct speech. So for example, here, if you go back to the bottom left, let's take these 2 questions as an example, okay? Are you working at the moment? And do you have هادو ما فيهمش question words, هادو فيهم auxiliary بس.
Yes,
yes, no
auxiliary.
questions. Yeah. Okay. So I think Hajr's answer is correct. When we don't have a question word, يعني ما عندناش لا what, لا where, there, we don't have a WH question.
WH question.
Yeah, بالضبط. لأن number 3, 4, 5 بالضبط. Question number 3, 4, and 5 هادو فيهم WH question. لكن الثانيات يعتبروا yes, no questions بالauxiliary. All right, so this means we use if or whether to report questions without a question word. This is the right answer, without a question word. I think we can rephrase or paraphrase this question in a better way to make it easier to understand. We can just say yes, no questions, right? So we can say use if or whether when reporting a yes, no question, right? It seems a lot clearer if we do it like this. All right, now third rule, it says we always use an object with ask. We sometimes use an object with ask. We never use an object with ask. So this means we need to look at the reported questions which contain ask. So here we have ask with an object. Here we have ask without an object.
With an object.
Here we have ask with an object. Here we have ask with no object. So which one should we use in the rule here, according to this information?
Sometimes.
I think you're right. Yeah, sometimes. Okay. Then the next rule, it says the changes in the verb forms in reported questions are the same as reported sentences or different from reported sentences. So of course, when we talk about the verb forms, let me just very quickly take you back. We're talking about this table. Remember this table? The changes that we made from from present simple, past simple, present continuous, past continuous, present perfect, past perfect. You remember this list? So they're just asking us, do we do the same thing with questions or not the same thing? So this means we have to look at the change in verb forms. This is what we're gonna do now. Let's take an example, okay? Let's take number one from the direct questions in direct speech. Are you working at the moment? So you can see that this is present continuous, right? Are you working? Are you working? Yeah. And when we changed it, he asked me if I was working.
If I was.
So it looks like, let's check another example. It looks like it's the same, but let's take another example.
The same,
just to make sure. Do you have any acting work in the next 3 months? Do you have? So this is present simple. Do you have? So number two, he asked if I had past simple. So it's the same. So we've got two examples that are following the same rules. So this means the same. Okay, so these are very useful tips. So at least now we know if you want to report a question, don't use auxiliaries do, does, or did. Use if or whether instead of a yes, no question. So if your original direct speech has a yes, no question, when you report it, it should be with if or whether. You don't always have to use an object with the verb ask, and the changes in the verb form are the same as when you report a sentence. So this is the first part. Now let's take a look at the second part of the question, part B. Let's take a look. It says, look again at the reported questions in 3A, then fill in the gaps with asked, wanted, whether, question word, subject, verb. Okay, so we have a complete fill in the gaps kind of question. And we have these options, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 6 options to fill in the gaps. So let's start with the first group here. So here we're gonna report a WH question. So let's find a WH question from the list. Could be بالexample أسهل.
The first one he want.
He asked me, I think.
Yeah, he asked me if. He asked me if. هذا اللي هو yes no question. لا. هذا اللي هو wanted to know where. هذا واحدة من الأمثلة. He wanted to know where I studied acting. Okay, so let's remember this example and let's see if we can use it as a rule. So he and me. So
he or she asked me.
Okay, let's use it.
asked me.
لأن اللي تحتها wanted to know فمعناها هذه بتكون asked. And also because we have an object, we cannot use me with wanted to know. So asked.
But why? Excuse me. Why they said reported WH questions? Why is that?
Good question. Because in the original speech, in direct speech, في الأصل كان هو WH question. ذهني رقم 4. Can you see it? What other parts have you had recently? هذا كان direct speech. هذا سؤال Max. This is what Max said to Eva. But now Eva is reporting Max's question to her boyfriend. تعود له في الكلام يا تو. تعود له في أسئلة Max. So that's why we need to call them reported WH questions. So you can say, this means you have two options. You can say he asked me, or you can say he wanted to know. What should we put here?
Whether.
Yes, weather. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Or F.
But can you look
No.
at the bottom
If
rule?
with the yes or no
yeah,
question. Yes.
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 If whether مع
Mm.
yes no questions when you report yes no
Mhm.
questions. So here we cannot use if or whether with WH questions.
Okay. Use the
Question
WH
mark.
word.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The same question
Mm.
word that you had in the direct speech, just put it. نفسها عودة. The same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we need to put a question word here. So if it's was, if it's where, just put where. If it's what, put what. If it's why, put why. Whatever the question is. Then we have subject. And after that, what do we have? What should we use? Let me take you back to the examples so you can take a look. Let's take E. لأن E تعتبر زي القاعدة اللي نشتغل عليها. It's a WH. It's a reported WH question. Let's take a look at it. So we used he or she, then we used asked me, then we used the question word اللي هي what. Other parts اللي هو حيكون I حتكون the subject. Where's the verb? The first had هذه اللي هي auxiliary بتكون I'd. Where's the main verb?
Had.
Had, right?
Yeah.
So this means if we're going to use E as an example to complete the rule, what should we use here? Bad subject.
Verb.
Yes. Yes, verb. معطيكم
Okay.
مثلا خيارات هنا. واحد من الخيارات verb. Can you see it? Subject or verb?
Verb. Yes.
Yeah, so let's use verb and let's cross it. All right, so this is the general rule of how to report a WH question. And let's just do one of them together. Let's try to apply the rule. نطبقها ونشوفوا شنو يطلع معنا. مثلا رقم 5 هنا, okay? And where did you study? هذا direct question. So, I mean question in direct speech. Now let's change this into reported speech. So let's imagine Hajar that Sana asked you this question, okay? So Sana asked you this question, Hajar, and now Hajar, you are going to report it to me. So how are you going to report it using the rule here in the box? كيف حيطلع معك?
Okay. She asked me where did I study?
Close.
Or where did I had study?
Okay, you're 90% correct. But there's a rule here. Let me remind you of the rule. Maybe it will here. Let me put it in a circle for you. This one. Can you see this rule, Hajar?
Okay.
What does the rule say?
Don't use auxiliary.
So can you do it again without the auxiliary? لأن الباقي كان كله صح.
Okay. She asked me where I study. No.
Close, but the original question شن كان هو الverb form in the
okay, studied. Present simple.
Is this present simple?
Oh, no, past simple.
So how do you change it?
Past perfect.
Right. So what should you say?
Where I had studied.
That's it. Where I had studied. And let's confirm, let's check and let's see If what you wrote is the same as in the examples in 3a, معناها you used the rule correctly. صح. He wanted to know. انت غرحني. Excuse me. مثالنا لأن سنة هي اللي سألتك. She wanted to know. ولا she asked me. زي بعض. اثنين صح. Where I had studied. Correct. So you use the rule correctly. غير احنا ما كتبناش هنا في السؤال الأصلي ما كتبناش acting كتبنا study بس. It's not important. But المهم هو تصريف الverb درناها past perfect زي في المثال. I'd studied acting. So correct. All right. So this means the rule is correct. Now let's check the second rule this time. Let's take a look at the next one. Now here we want to report a yes/no question. So you can say he asked me, she asked me, or you can say he
wanted to know.
Right, wanted to know. Correct. And then what do we use?
If or whether.
Right, if or whether. And after that?
Subject plus verb.
That's it. Subject plus verb. Let's apply the rule. So now Hajar is gonna ask Sana, for example, okay, Hajar, think of any. No, we don't want any question. Okay, so Hajar asked you this question, Sana. Are you available to start next week? So this is the question in direct speech. Can you report it to me, Sana? Can you report what Hajar asked you using the same rule, Sana? I think Sana fell asleep. Sana? You can do the dishes later, Sana. Okay, she's not there. Okay, so you can do it, Hajar. You can report it. Let's imagine that Sana asked you this question and you're gonna report it to me now.
Okay. She wanted to know.
Right.
If I available start next week.
Okay, until if
I yeah.
Okay, until
Okay.
now it's fine, but what should you use? What's the verb?
If I could.
But what's the verb in the original question in direct speech?
Or available.
Available is not a verb.
Oh, okay. You
is a subject pronoun.
No, to start.
Start is the main verb, صح? But what's the auxiliary verb?
Okay.
First of all, what's the verb form? The verb form in direct speech. شنو هو الverb form اللي استعملناه in number 6? What's the verb form?
Yes or no questions.
Correct. But what's the verb form? هو yes, no question, صح? But is it present simple, past simple? Is it do? Is it have? Is it verb to be? What is it?
It's a verb to be.
Is it in the past or is it in the present, verb to be?
In the present.
So how do you change it?
Where? Okay. She wanted to know if I were available to start next week.
95% correct. You're
If I
almost.
want.
What do we use with I? Do we use were or was?
Was.
Yes. So
Okay. What we use? She wanted to know if I was available to start next week.
okay. Let's write this and then we can check in the example at the top of the page. If I was available to start next week. Okay, let's see if what you wrote is right. Can you see it, Hajar?
Yes.
So is it correct?
Yeah.
Yes, it is correct.
Mhm.
Okay, so you can see the idea here. It's I don't, is it hard? Do you think it's hard?
No.
It's a little confusing, just a little bit, right?
Yes.
I think if you get used to it, it will become very easy because it's just a matter of reporting the verb, of making a few changes. Yeah, دي فكرة. I think maybe if you, in movies we don't see it a lot, that's the problem. But yeah, this is the idea of how you can report questions. Let's take a look at the summary here and let's see if we have any important tips. Page 153. خلينا نشوفه. 153. Okay. So reported speech. هذا بالنسبة. Excuse me. هذا بالنسبة للsentences. We already finished this. Reported questions. Here it is. Okay, reported questions, reported speech questions. We don't use the auxiliaries. هذه قلناها. If and whether في yes no questions حتى هي اتفقنا عليها. What else do we have? We sometimes use an object with ask. The changes are the same in the sentences, in the verb forms حتى هذه اتفقنا عليها. So this is the rule. He asked me question words, subject. If whether هذا لو كان yes no question. Okay, so في ملاحظة واحدة بس ممكن تهمنا. Can you see this tip? It says the word order in reported questions is the same as in positive sentences. Do you get the idea? يعني لما تتبع في الترتيب زي ما احنا كنا نتبعه في القاعدة, it means you have to do it in the same order as a normal positive sentence, a regular sentence. Don't put it in question form. So you should say, I asked her where her brother was. مش حنقوله I asked her where was her brother. يعني عادة في questions مش ديما نقلبه في verb to be مع في verb مع question words. If you're doing a question, for example, he is happy. This is a positive sentence. But if you want to make it into a question, you just flip the verb with the pronoun, with the subject. Is he happy? And then you'll have a question, right? But the tip that they're telling us here, يعني يبغوا ينبهونا أن in reported speech حنتبعوا نفس pattern of a positive sentence. هي هذه الملاحظة الوحيدة الجديدة مش موجودة غادي. But the rest is, all of them are repeated and we just talked about them. This means we can do our next exercise. So now let's take a look at number 5. Okay, pronunciation. Number 6. It says here, look at these real questions that people have asked in interviews. Write the questions in reported speech, use the verbs, use the phrases in brackets. Okay, so number one. Okay, so it says here what not to ask in an interview. So these are examples of actual questions. Maybe not actual questions, maybe it's just an exercise. Questions that you shouldn't ask in an interview. So what we're gonna do together, هنا هنكتبوا reported speech on the right side, the reported questions. So question number one, can my rabbit come to work with me? So when you report this, she asked if her rabbit could come to work with her. What about number two, Sana? How can you report number two?
Okay. What is your start sign?
Mm-hmm.
She asked him because WH question this mean.
Correct.
She asked him what?
Correct.
What she, yes, what she
I think you need the verb first.
yes, start this meaning verb, yes, or this is present
Correct. Correct.
yeah, okay,
Present simple, verb to be.
yes. What she was started sign.
Not
Okay.
not exactly, Sana. Can you try again?
Okay. Okay.
Remember to use the rules. Let's take a look.
Okay, I open the rule here in front of me.
Okay, so you have the rules.
Okay.
Good. So after question word شنو عندنا subject ولا؟
Yes.
What's the subject?
Hair. This mean hair. مش she, hair.
His. Then she asked him.
She asked him. Okay. Okay. She asked him what his
correct.
What his we put it was or were, yes, what his, because we will change the is to was or were.
Correct. But you forgot something. Star sign خليك ناحيتها.
Yeah, no, after subject, what his started sign.
بس هنا هذه مش start، هذه star sign. Star sign, do you know what it means? Star sign. Have you heard of it? Star sign before?
Star, this means نجمة.
Yes.
Sign.
Yes. برجك أبراج. Your zodiac. فالترجمة العربية كأنك أنت بتقولي هي سألتها شن برجها. هي سألتها شني برجك. شني برجها.
His star sign.
تمام. والverb?
الverb is نحولوه يا was يا were.
تمام. وين بتحطيه؟
His after subject.
That's it. معناها؟
Okay. She asked him what his was star sign.
Can we do that? Can we say what his was? تركب ولا ما تركبش؟
No, what his where? I don't know his where because he, it was, but his where? I don't know.
Yes, it's getting interesting. I feel like an evil scientist, like ha ha ha, you're stuck.
هاجر love.
هاجر من سجنه تحسب جاي هالدور. Okay, now let me show you. تعرف الغريب علاش تبان غريبة؟ لأن شو قال لك لو تلاحظوا في النوت الأخير حنرجع لكم من النوت اللي هو اللي هني التip. أعطيكم تip بخصوص المشكلة هذه. لو تشوفوا التip هي شو قال لك؟ ها شوفوا. It says here, if you pay attention to the tip, it says the word order. احنا أصلا تو مشكلتنا إن عندنا مشكلة في الword order. ترتيب الكلمات غريب بالنسبة لنا، لكنه شرح لك سبب. قال لك the word order in reported question is the same as positive sentences. So you should say, for example, I asked her where her brother was. قلتها كيف الوصف الأخير. Can you see it?
Where? I don't see.
Here. Can you see it in the box?
Yeah.
فتركيبة السؤال لما أنت بتديري reported question، لما أنت بتعودي السؤال حتتبعي نفس الترتيب متاع البوزيتيف سنتنس. ماش حتقولها زي الكويشن، لأن الكويشن الأصلي كان what is your star sign. أنت في الريبورت متاعك لما بتعوديه ما تقدريش تقولي she asked him what was his star sign. لازم تقولي what his star sign was. بتمشي كأنك positive sentence.
Yeah.
So this is an important tip, and that's why it's a little confusing لما قابلتنا بالشكل هذا. So was بتمشينا في الأخير. This is the tip. So all right, so we can go back and we can use do the other sentences in the same way. نفضوا فراغ باش نقدر نكتبوا تانيات حتى هما. Okay. أنا منعودة مش مشكلة. So number 2, let me just quickly write it one more time. She asked him what his star sign was. All right. Now, Hajar, what about number 3? How can you report this question?
Okay. He asked him whether or if. Use if.
That's right.
Okay. He asked him if there was a problem.
Why did you put there?
Okay, well, yes. If was a problem.
You forgot the subject.
Yeah. He asked him if he
What's the subject you have in the sentence?
It. Okay.
Yes.
He asked him if it was a problem.
That's it. If it was a problem.
If I'm angry most of the time.
انت تعودي في الكلام، انت reporting مش عليك انت قصة.
Yeah. He asked him if it was a problem if he was angry most of the time.
There you are, that's it. If he was angry most of the time. Nice. Okay, that's right. So now what about number 4? How can you report this question?
Okay. Will the company pay to look after my horse? He asked her. Okay. Yes or no question. This means. Okay.
It's a yes no question, so
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. He asked her if or whether if she.
Why
if
she?
She.
Why did you use she? Where's she?
If
What's the subject of the sentence?
Company.
Right, the company, صح?
Okay. If the company. If the company looked after yes his horse or his horse. Yeah.
Okay, ماشي حالة, لكن we can make it a little better because you forgot will. When should will?
Would.
Right.
Okay.
If the company. كيف بتولي الويل?
If the company would.
Right, that's it.
Would look after.
That's it, صح. Would look after. شنو تاني? Would look after.
His horse.
That's it.
Well,
His, صح. Okay.
What about they? We used after would. He asked.
You mean
Would
بدل
they?
but would sorry?
Would.
What's your question, Haji?
In the sentence, will the company pay to look after my horse? The word they.
صح.
Yes.
Use it after
نسينا الpay.
Company.
You're right, yes. If the company would pay to look after. Yes. Hajar is right. صوتي واضح ولا يقطع ولا؟
قطع شوية لكن عادي مش هل.
لا اوكي انا بالنسبة لي.
Okay. What about number 5, Hajar?
He wanted to know whether. He wanted to know whether I had. Whether I had. Whether he or she. Whether he had.
Okay.
Whether he had to wear a suit for the next interview.
That's it. Right, nice. And the last one, Sana?
Okay, if move it up because I don't see the.
Okay. Let's move the sentence a little bit.
Yes. Which job am I applying for? He wanted to know. He wanted to know. Which he wanted to know which. which his لا
Subject first. What's the subject?
yes which subject
Yeah.
am
Am is not a subject. Am is verb to be, auxiliary.
I
اوكي، لكن انت علشان تسألي subject السؤال شنو هو؟ I ما يعتبرش subject السؤال.
job
Job, right. We're asking about the job.
he
Which
wanted
job?
to know which job
Correct.
which job
توا تخش الverb.
job which job the verb here applying no
No.
no
Am is the verb.
okay which job
sorry ممكن
which job
لخبطتك شوية يا سناء. Which job جاية مع بعضها مع
أيوة.
which، يعني which job تعتبر كأنها question word مع بعض. تو بتديري السبجكت، عرفتي؟
اوكي
والسبجكت اللي
which
هي
job
I لكن انت بتغيريه، معلش انك مش حتدوي على روحك، انت بتدوي على الشخص هذا اللي تعودي في كلامه.
which job he
right.
which job he
صح.
he applying for
What about the verb?
he was applying for
Yes, that's it. He wanted to know which job he was applying for. Nice. I hope there's listening so we can check. I'm not sure there is. Oh, there is no exercise 10. Okay, but we still have 7 to 10. So that's great. We have more practice. Okay, number 7, your turn, Hajar.
Okay. Have you been in a prison too? He asked him whether he had been in a prison too.
That's it. Whether he'd been to prison too.
In a prison.
To or in, sorry, not to prison. In prison.
In prison too.
Right, okay. Number 8, Sana.
okay why am I here she wanted to know why he was here
But why did you change he? اللي تتكلم she ولا he?
she wanted to know why she was here.
That's it. Okay, number 9, Hajar.
Why aren't you in a more interesting business? She asked them why they aren't any why they aren't why she asked them why they weren't in a more interesting business.
That's it. Okay, and number 10, Sana.
Can I come back when I find my glasses? She wanted to know. She wanted to know. Okay. She wanted to know if or whether. If she came back. If she came back, yes, because here in the she could.
Yes, yes.
She could, yes. If she could come back
That's it.
when she find her glasses.
And can you also change the next verb?
Found her
Yes.
glasses.
I'm not sure about the last change. ممكن تقعد find أحسن. She wanted to know if she could come back when she finds her. If she could come back when she finds, when she finds, then هذا conditional. Can I come back when I find? هذا first conditional with future clauses. تفكر فيهم, do you remember them? Future clauses اللي كانوا مع ال first conditional. I'll come back when I find. لا هذا sorry, second zero conditional هذا. Can I come back when I find? Present. فإحنا لما غيرناها بالif, she wanted to know. لا wanted معناها في ال past. If she found past. Sounds a little strange. When she finds, she wanted to know if she could come back when she finds her, when she found her glass. I'm not sure about this one. I feel that find is better. I'll have to check it. When she finds her glasses. Okay. But it sounds, I have to check it in the teacher's book. I'm not completely sure about this one. She wanted to know if she could come back when she finds her glasses. She wanted to know if she could come back when she found her glasses. Earlier we had a similar example, but we changed it in both tenses. اللي هي رقم رقم 3 ممكن. Yeah, number 3. Do you remember number 3? If it was a problem, yes. If he was angry. If it was a problem, if he's angry. He asked him if it was a problem if he's angry all the time. هذه معناها بتنطبق على نفس المشكلة. هل if he was angry وإلا if he is angry. So I'm not sure about this one. بس الجزئية الأولى صح جاوبناها, على الأقل طبقنا القاعدة في الجزء الأول. But the next part I'm not so sure. Okay, so this means we'll have to check this. All right, so we've got just enough time for our next exercise. Max phones Eva. Okay, compare the question. Okay, this is the next one. Let's just do the listening in number 7. And we'll leave the rest for next lesson, because in the next lesson هنتكلم عن requests والimperatives كيف نديروا لهم reported speech. But for now, let's just listen to number 7. It says Max phones Eva later that day. She's got the job. Listen and answer these questions. Okay, so let's listen. صوتي كويس ولا يقطع هلبا؟
لا كويس.
لا كويس.
okay. لأنه ممكن listening لأنه لو يبدأ connection مش كويس يقطع. But let's try. Let's find out. So we've got track 7, 20. Number 3, 20.
Hello?
Hello, is that Eva West?
Yes, it is.
This is Max Foster from On The Box.
Oh, yes, hi.
Good news. You've got the job.
Really? Oh, that's wonderful, thank you.
No problem. Can you come to a meeting on Monday?
Yes, of course. What time?
Be at our offices at 10. The director and all the other actors will be here too.
Yes, of course.
Oh, and one more thing. Don't accept any more work. This is a full-time job and you'll be busy for the next 3 months at least.
No, of course not. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye.
Wow! I've got the job!
Congratulations! That's brilliant!
Yes, I can't believe it. A TV series, and I'm the main character.
So, what did he say?
Well, he asked me to come to a meeting on Monday. He wants me to meet the director and the other actors.
That's great!
Yes, he told me to be at their offices at 10.
Excellent. Did he say anything else?
Yes, he told me not to accept any more work. This is going to last 3 months at least.
Fantastic. So, what's your character's name again?
Kat. I don't know much about her yet, but it sounds like a really challenging part. Apparently, she's an undercover cop.
Okay. So it seems that Eva got the job, but where does she have to go on Monday?
To the meeting.
Meeting.
Correct. She has to go to the office where the meeting is. Yeah, she has to go to.
Yeah.
Okay, what time does she have to be there?
At
10.
10.
At 10?
10 o'clock.
Right. And who's she going to meet?
The director.
The director and the
Cool.
other actors.
That's it. How long is the job going to last?
At least 3 months.
Correct. At
3
least
months,
3 months.
yes.
Yes. But now I don't know if you paid attention to when her boyfriend asked her, what did he say? Did you notice how she reported the
Yes.
request? She
Yes.
made a few changes.
Yes.
This will be inshallah the focus of our next lesson. هنشوفوا كيف ان هي عودة الريكوستس والطلبات والأوامر والتفاصيل كلها لأن ماكس خلط. He used some requests and some imperatives. زوز استعملهم لما كان يكلم فهم. And she repeated them or reported them, sorry, to her boyfriend. So we'll talk a little bit about this in our next lesson. All right, so that's all for tonight. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry we started late. I know we agreed to start earlier, but because of the internet problem, anyway, so we'll meet again, inshallah, on Monday, okay? So have a good night
Inshallah.
and see you next time.
Good
You
night.
too. Assalamu alaikum.
All right, alaikum salam. Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.